I think it's helpful to start with engines since we understand them a little better than we do airframes. All right, so what we have here is going to be a graph. The vertical axis is the value of the engine for one of our airplanes. And the horizontal axis is the number of tack hours we have on that engine. All right? Now, there comes a point in the engine's life when it's of no value to us. It cannot keep compression and so forth, and as a result, we want that engine overhauled. It still has some residual value. Somebody can take it and use the parts or refurbish it or remanufacture it. We're going to call the value of such an engine P. All right? It's of little value for us in flying planes, but it's of value to somebody. And P represents the bottom of the value scale on this graph. All right? Now, it costs us about $25,000 to overhaul an engine, say, in an Archer. All right? And therefore, at the top of the vertical scale, we have $25,000 in addition to the value of P, $25,000 plus P. All right? And across the bottom, again, is time, although time is measured not in hours or days or years, but in tack hours. All right? And we have a very simple plot as a result of all of this. The engine's value is way up here when it has 0 hours and descends to P over time as we use up the 2,000 hours or so the engine has in its life. All right? And so the value is declining as we use it. All right? The asset that the club owns is losing value as we use it. But fortunately, we are a smart club, and we realize that at some point, down around 2,000 hours over here, we are going to have to replace this particular engine. So at this point, we're going to need $25,000 in cash in order to do so. So all along this curve, we are accumulating cash in order to overhaul our engine. Let's choose a point about halfway through the engine's life to us. All right? That'll occur roughly there. And as you can see, the value of the engine is roughly half the value of $25,000 above P, or roughly $12,500 above P, and we've got 1,000 hours on the engine. All right? Now, all along, we've been charging our members for the time they put on the engine. And as a result, we've also accumulated some cash. We've accumulated about $12,500 in cash for this particular engine, which is represented by that green line right there. So the point below the yellow horizontal line is the value remaining on the engine. The point above there, up to the 25,000 plus P value, is accumulated cash. All right? And this pattern is here throughout the life of the engine. And down here at around 2,000 hours, when the engine has no value to us as people who want to fly airplanes, we now have about $25,000 in the bank, which we're then going to use to overhaul the engine, and we're going to return ourselves back to the left side of the graph here with a overhauled engine ready to be used again. You might ask yourself, how much should we charge any one of our members to fly the airplane, at least how much we're going to charge them for engine consumption? Well, as long as we have $25,000 represented on the vertical part of the axis, as long as we have 2,000 hours represented on the horizontal part of the aircraft, we take $25,000, divide that by 2,000 hours, and we will get $12.50 per hour on the engine. Okay? And so every hour that the airplane is flown, a member is going to add $12.50 to that account. One feature of this replacement model for the engine is that the assets of the club remain constant over time. They remain $25,000 plus P at the beginning, and as we consume the engine, we're replacing that with cash, and the entire assets of the club remain constant, which is the red line across the top. At any point in time, if we add the value of the engine plus the cash we have to replace the engine, that should remain constant.